Welcome to the OddsBreakers, #1 place for shared, sharp betting information.
The Final Four is here. And welcome back to podcast 19 of 2019. I'm your host, Kiev O'Neill. You can tweet us at The OddsBreakers. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, /The OddsBreakers. What a fantastic weekend of games. We did exceptionally well. Only loss Saturday and Sunday was Kentucky. And my, did they shoot pretty bad that game. But either way, it's been very, very successful. Very happy about that. And wow, do we have one hell of a Final Four coming up. This podcast is being brought to you by MyBookie.ag. For a 100% sign-up bonus, please visit MyBookie. Use the promo code TheOddsBreakers. Terms and conditions apply. If you'd like to help us out with our costs, get our plays before the line moves, please visit theoddsbreakers.com and become a member for $12.99 a month. You can get my picks, my premium picks, before the line moves for $2 more. You can become patron subscriber and get all that and get the podcast at most times a little bit early. If nothing else, please visit theoddsbreakers.com and become a free picks newsletter subscriber. If you are a handicapper and like to contribute to the OddsBreakers, we are now paying freelance handicappers for their articles. Please visit theoddsbreakers.com and inquire with us. It'll help get your name out there as well as make some side money as well. We're looking for Major League Baseball, NBA, NHL, and any other sport that most people love to bet on. Please visit theoddsbreakers.com and contact us, or just contact us via Twitter. We have a fantastic show for you today because Kyle Hunter is back to help us break down the Final Four, the NIT, the CIT, and the CBI tournaments. Can't wait to get into it with that. But first, I'd like to go over our free bracket standings. And I must say, it's been a fantastic Final Four because we got 3 of the Final Four correct. Pretty stoked about that. The only problem is that the team I had being in the Final Four was the team that lost is the team I have winning it all in North Carolina.
Wrong.
Yeah, that sucks, but it's still cool to get 3 of the Final Four teams when there's a 3 seed in Texas Tech, a 2 seed in Michigan State, a 1 seed in Virginia, and obviously I had North Carolina instead of Auburn, and I had North Carolina winning it all. So I guess my only shot at winning is Auburn winning and Texas Tech winning. Then I win, of course, in our free bracket challenge. I'm not going to count my first place or whatever place I make. I'm still paying out the $250 for the next person up for first through third, $250, $150, and $50 to you listeners out there that are so deserving of winning this contest. So quick looking at the actual standings here. After my bracket, Jason Briggs is in second place. Jason has Michigan State to win it all. So as long as that happens, he should be able to have a good shot. The other issue, well, I guess it's an issue for him, is that Aaron Day has Michigan State beating Virginia. So if Virginia and Michigan State win and Michigan State wins it all, Aaron would take first, Jason would take second. Joey Katzen is next, and he has Virginia winning it all. They'd be playing Duke, so as long as Virginia wins it all, he should win it. And next we have Thomas Martin, and he has Michigan State winning it all against North Carolina, so he could take third place if Michigan State wins it all. So good luck to them, and I want to thank everyone who has participated in our free bracket challenge this year. It's been a success. I'm looking forward to keep doing this every single year, brought to you by the Odds Breakers. Good news for me, at least, is I entered that same bracket into another contest for money, so I'm actually in first place there, but kind of doubting that Texas Tech and Auburn is going to win the next two games. Of course, if that happens, that would be great, but either way, you'll hear me and Kyle break down those games a little bit later in this podcast. Before we get into basketball, I want to quick touch on a little bit of NCAA football. This is the week that I finally get started in looking at which players are left for which teams. Looks like some of the games of the year lines are out, which are cool. I want a quick touch on that. Now, no major plays. We made a season win total play to members this month, and there's going to be a few more coming out in the next few weeks. And for the NFL, you're going to be seeing some plays from us coming out as well. Looking at some of these games of the year, you have Auburn versus Oregon. Jared Stidham looks like he's entered the NFL and will enter the NFL draft. But Justin Herbert for Oregon says he is returning to the Ducks. They were 8-4, I believe, last year. And it's pretty exciting because I think it gives the Ducks a shot here. We'll see what happens. It's a long travel spot for Auburn. That's why you're seeing them as just a short favorite playing in Oregon, a big SEC team like Auburn. LSU versus Texas on Sunday, September 7th. That's going to be awesome. Both quarterbacks are back for each team. So I think that's going to make an extremely cool game. It looks like LSU is a favorite against Texas. I right now would be leaning Texas +3. I didn't break the game down just because how Texas finished off the season, what they did against Georgia. I don't think that they don't have this game circled. Texas A&M against Clemson. Little revenge spot for Texas A&M, but they have to do it at Clemson. How are you going to bet against Clemson and how well Trevor Lawrence has been playing? But they'll be replacing some players in 15. That seems like a trap line to me. So I'll be looking a little bit more into that one. ASU versus Michigan State is a big game. Well, it's big for them, but Saturday, September 14th, big non-conference game. Michigan State will be looking for revenge here. We'll see how many players old Hermie is returning for ASU. Looking forward to that game. Tennessee at Florida. Florida, a 14.5-point favorite. That's pretty big. Notre Dame at Georgia. Georgia laying 11.5. Pretty huge spread as well against the Notre Dame team that made the playoffs last year. Very interesting. And then you got Michigan against Wisconsin. Shea Patterson back for Michigan, and Wisconsin on a new quarterback. Wisconsin's a 6-point dog at home to Michigan, but they might be looking for a little revenge themselves here. Michigan definitely replacing some players, but they've been recruiting absolutely amazing lately. So there's a lot of these lines, and I don't love playing games of the year super early. I'll have a couple of them for members, but the problem with games of the year is that, the casinos, the sports books get to hold on to your money for a long time, and that's never fun having to track that and wait for your payout and wait for the game to play itself out, and injuries can happen. I prefer season win totals, and yes, they hold your money for a long time, but it's just it's great to find some value in those, and I think your variance is less. Some big teams can lose one stupid game, but going over a certain win total, it seems to be a little bit easier for you to handicap because there's more of a sample size. It's not just a one-game hiccup that could happen like Kentucky losing to Auburn. So what I like to do is follow all of the beat writers and on Twitter, You follow as many as you can. Read their articles up on some teams. You want to check your Athlons, your Lindies, find out what they have to say about some of these teams, returning coaches. And then, of course, you have to look at their strength of schedule. That's extremely important when handicapping these games. And some of the same things have to apply to the NFL. Strength of schedule, coaches, players, who have they picked up? How well did they draft? Did they fill any holes? Do you see, is there going to be some overblown things? Like, did a player leave and is everyone too down on that team for one player leaving? There's a lot of things to look into these lines. So this is where I start analyzing all that information and get to put it together and get to give it out to members. And I'll tweet out a few free ones, of course, and possibly post a few articles all summer long. So you guys can get some good content from the Odds Breakers. And we'll have some handicappers, I'm sure, here doing the same. All right, without further ado, let's bring on Mr. Kyle Hunter from Hunter Sports Picks. All right, I'm super happy to welcome back Mr. Kyle Hunter from HunterSportsPicks.com. You can follow Kyle on Twitter at Kyle Hunter Picks. Kyle is having an amazing year in college basketball, over 58%. If you look in the NBA, he's also 28-19 in the NBA as well. So even after basketball season is over, he's still making his clients lots of profit. Super excited to have Kyle back on. Well, Kyle, let's get into some of these games then that happened over the weekend. Holy cow, that Texas Tech Gonzaga game. A lot of people on Gonzaga. I'm sure that hurt a few people's brackets, my man. What a great game, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I thought that was a great game where, to me, Texas Tech looked like they wanted it a little bit more. You know, Chris Beard's a really good coach. I think he's still, you know, people are finding out how good he is, but he's probably still underrated by some people. Mark Few's a good coach as well. Not a diss of him, certainly. Gonzaga, I think, has a deeper team. It had more scorers, but Texas Tech was that much better on defense, forced those turnovers. I think that big three by Moretti late to get them ahead by, I believe it was 5 points there at the end of the game. Really big key, because that had been a one-possession game almost the whole way. They finally get a little bit of separation, and then Gonzaga goes, you know, a little bit desperate. Perkins with some questionable plays there at the end, certainly, but Texas Tech deserved that win, certainly.
Yeah, absolutely. They certainly did. Their defense, you know, I didn't think that anyone was going to surpass, you know, the Michigans and the Virginias, but if you look at what Texas Tech has been doing, that defense is crazy good. I mean, shut down good. These guys take pride in their defense, and you know they are on you way above the perimeter, right above the 3-point line. They are in your face. So, you know, that's kind of what I liked about them. And when I looked at when they played St. Mary's, you know, that was kind of the other team in the West Coast Conference that actually, you know, gave them some fits, and they were the defensive, slower playing team. So that's kind of what made me find some ugly value on Texas Tech. But, you know, I think that was a big loss for the public right there. Another loss that happened for some sharp bettors was that Virginia-Purdue game, wasn't it?
No. Too soon. Don't talk about that.
That was a fantastic game, but what a bad overtime, right?
Oh man. You know, I had plus 4.5 with Purdue, and it's hard to have a better bet lose. I mean, Purdue was winning most of the game, and then, you know, really should have won it in regulation straight up. That was a big mistake. And then they had the ball down one with like 10 seconds left in overtime. You're thinking, what could go wrong here to lose plus 4.5, and somehow it did. I will say, first of all, you know, I even said to my dad when we were talking about the game afterwards, I said, you know, it's a shame for me that the way I'm going to remember such an amazing game is what a brutal beat I took on that one, because it was a really bad beat. But, you know, as far as the game, I will say, that was a tremendous game. If you're a fan of college basketball, Carson Edwards was just out of his mind. I mean, you know, you're sitting there going, what is going on? I mean, this is ridiculous. And I know some people gave Virginia's defense a bit of a hard time about that, but what were they supposed to do? I mean, they had 2 guys on him, and he's shooting fadeaway threes from 6 feet behind the line. You know, I mean, he's just making them. I don't think that was Virginia's defense fault. I think that was just a a great performance by Carson Edwards there, but what a game that was.
Yeah, Barkley ripped on him a little bit. It's like they're trying to guard him. He just was
Right.
Steph Curry like, I mean, he couldn't miss. And it's unfortunate that Klein was kind of out of gas because he had his game the game before that against Tennessee.
Yep.
And then they just needed somebody else to step up, and it just wasn't quite enough.